Hello and welcome back to my channel, Cards by Melissa Minor. Today I am so excited for this video. I cannot believe that my pictures were featured in the Close to My Heart catalog. So in the November-December 2023 Close to My Heart book, this is my family. So let me bring in my pictures. So we are going to literally recreate this layout exactly the way it is in the book. So I hope you'll stay tuned. I have all the dimensions. I have had so much fun recreating this layout. So let me bring in the pictures just as they are in the book. So this is my boyfriend Dale and I. And then this is my beautiful daughter Tatum. And this was actually us last Christmas. Let me give you a little backstory. With a blended family, we had went to multiple church services. So this was us at Holy Rosary Church. So we had attended a Catholic Mass. And then directly following this church service, we had drove about an hour and went to another church service at Life Point Church, which is a non-denominational church, so that everyone could practice their faith. So we really just respect the diversity within all of our family, and so that's what we did. So it was really fun um, to see these pictures featured in the catalog. So I loved what Close to My Heart wrote, because they take the photos and then they put the story with it. So they had put this time of year is my favorite, so many activities and performances to do and see. And that really does fit. Tatum did sing in the choir at Mass, so that was fun. And a fun story, which you can't really see it in the photos in the book, but she is wearing Converse with her dress. And so she had a beautiful bright red dress on, and then she had these white Converse. And I think she started like a trend within her friends, because right after that, her friends were wearing like the Converse with these pretty dresses. So that was kind of fun too. So let's dive in and get started on the layout. So one of the things that you're going to need a pack of the mix-ins. So all of the mix-in papers, and let me just show those to you. They are gorgeous. If you haven't seen these, this one features the Desert Rose color. I love this. And then we've got this wood grain. It's got the lighter and the darker. And then this one features the charcoal. And then we've got here the this one, which has like the leaves pattern. And then we've got this one here. Now this one, it has more of like the acornish. I think this is like acorn on one side. It has like the brown tints. And then it's got more of like the grayish tints on the other side. Oh, I forgot to mention, this one is the sage color. And then we've got this one here, which is that acorn, and both different colors. So you do need a pack of the mix-ins, and you use them a lot for the trees. There's also other paper that you need from different collections. So let me bring those in and just show you what you would need for the other collections. So from the Silver Bells collection, you would need these two papers. So this one, it has stripes on one side, and then this print. And you can see this one here. So this is from the Silver Bells collection. And then from the Evergreen collection, you're going to need 2 sheets of paper as well. So from the Evergreen, you're going to need this one. And then the music note paper, we actually are going to use this side of it, not the music note. I really didn't want to cut up the music note, but I was trying to be pretty close to exact on the paper to recreate the layout. So these are all the papers that you would need. And then, of course, the only cardstock that I'm going to bring in today is just to mat my photos. So I chose to use the charcoal to mat the photos, and I already did that off camera. So these are 3x4 photos, and I've matted these 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 on the charcoal. For our base, we're going to use that 12 by 12 sheet of paper from the Evergreen collection, and I've went ahead and got the inside because that paper is just too pretty to waste. So it's got the dots on one side and then these little leaves on the other. So what I'm going to do, just to make sure that I get everything lined up, because sometimes it's really hard when you're working with a small sheet like this, just to get everything adhered down, I'm just going to use a piece of my mint tape here, just washi tape, and I'm just going to adhere it down just so that it doesn't move around on me as I start to glue these other pieces down. So I just have that lightly tacked down. Then the next sheet that we want to bring in, I am bringing in this sheet. This is from the Mix-In collection, and this one has the brown tone on one side and it has the grays on the other. And since we're going to be using like the wood grain tint, I decided to use the acorn tint facing up. And so I've trimmed this down to 11.5 by 11.5. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, and I am going to use my liquid glue just so I can get in real close to the edge here. Okay, so I have a nice 1/4 inch border all the way around. Next, we're going to bring in our sheet of wood grain paper. This is from the Mix-In collection. And I have cut this down to 11.5 by 5.25. And so I'm going to go ahead and just leave myself about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. And I can just go ahead and get this adhered down. And then I'm going to bring in a zip strip. Now this is the zip strip off one of the sheets of Mix-Ins. And you just need to trim this down to 11.5. And this is going to go towards the bottom of this wood grain paper. And now this next sheet, this is the music note paper. And I've already went ahead and stamped Happy Holidays using my pine ink. Now this Happy Holidays comes from the Happy Everything stamp set. Let me bring this in. I was so excited to get this stamp set. You wouldn't believe this, but the other day, out of all the stamps that I own, I barely had anything that said happy anniversary. And so I love that this has so many different all occasion sentiments on it. And I love this. You make me so happy, 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 you can say. All different things. But we've stamped out Happy Holidays on here. And so let me give you the measurements of this. And this was from the Evergreen collection. And let's see, this one, I've cut it down to 2.5 by 5. Yes, this is 2.5 by 5. And so this is going to go right about, and I want to put it sort of high up here because I want to have enough room for the journaling. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this adhered down. Okay, and then I am using the triangle thin cuts. They are called the Triangle Trees thin cuts, and they come in all different sizes. And so I've used those and used some of the Mix-Ins, and I've cut a couple triangles here to just finish this off. So we'll put a couple of them over here. Now I'm just going to dry fit these until I put my photos down. Let's bring in the photos. So I have the picture of my daughter Tatum. And then I have the picture of Dale and I do want to overlap them just a bit. Let me bring in the layout So you can see the layout in the catalog. And let's see, this one is just barely over the wood grain. You can see like that, and then this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these adhered down. Okay, we got those adhered nicely. Now the next thing to do is to bring in the zip strip. So I have another zip strip from the mix-ins, and this is the one with the stars. So we'll add this. All right. And then all that's left to do on the layout is cut a bunch of triangle trees and then add them together. So you're going to cut various sizes of your trees and add them together, and then we're going to stamp some images on here. Now, before we stamp those images, you can see that there's a little bit of doodle line all around the layout. So I'm going to bring in my black La Pen, and I'm going to add some doodle lines. All right, I have all the doodle lines in place, and you can see they're not perfectly straight, and I don't want them to be. And now we're going to bring in the trees, the tree stamp set. So let me show you what that looks like. This is called the triangle trees. And so there's lots of different images. They can coordinate with the thin cuts, but on the layout, they have not coordinated with these. They have just used them separately. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my layout over, turn my Versamat over so that I have the spongy side so that I can stamp on here. And I'm going to go ahead and get my first tree that I want to stamp on the block. So it is the one with the squiggle lines. Now these are new stamps, so if you haven't used them before, you can season them by rubbing them on your arm or on your skin, on your clothes, just to kind of get that factory sticky off. And then you also want to practice on some scratch paper. So I'm going to stamp this off a couple times on a piece of scratch paper. Now I have already put some of my trees together. So I want to kind of lay the first tree down, the first two trees, just to get an idea of where I want that tree to go. And I can already tell that I'm going to need to mask this off. So I'm going to get a piece of, I'm just going to use a piece of this mint tape, and I'm going to mask it off on, I'm going to mask off the green, just so I don't get any of the stamp on the green. So I'm going to hold this over where I want this to go. And we're going to give it a good press. Hold it down. And it looks perfect. I'm excited. Okay, so now I can go ahead and take my masking tape off. And I can glue down my first tree. So I put these trees together off camera, so you didn't have to watch all of that process. And I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape to a few of these just to give it a little bit of dimension. So I am bringing in the 3D foam tape. Oh, we can't forget about these little pinnets that I cut out earlier. So let's go ahead and glue those pinnets down so we don't lose these. So I'm going to glue this down just right next to the photo here. There we go. All right, so before I get my next tree down, I'm going to need to get it on a block. So this next tree is the smaller one. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna place it where I want it. Give it a good press. There we go, perfect. It is a little scary stamping directly on my layout, but look, it's turning out just fine. Okay, and again, I think I'm gonna put some little bit of foam tape on this one, just to give it a little dimension, not a lot. Okay, so we know that we've got a green one here. Let me bring in the layout here so you can see. So the next one is this one, and I think that is the biggest. Let's take a look at the stamp set here. So that one with the lines. Let's see. That would be this one. So that's a big one. So you're going to need a large block for that one. All right, so this one, just going to kind of bring this back. We're going to give it a press. So far, so good. Okay, and then we'll add this tree over here. It's gonna go behind this one. And then we've got a gray tree. It's gonna go down here, kind of over to the side of it. And another gray tree. Now this one I did just a little bit different, trying to use up what scraps that I had. And then we've got this one. And then it looks like my last tree might be a little bit bigger. And then I've got one more stamped tree. So let me bring in the stamps. I'm going to reuse my same masking tape all along the green. And we're going to add our last tree right there. All right, the finishing touch is going to be adding the Silver Bells dots. And so we've got gold dots and a couple of the white ones. So these are really pretty. I don't know if the camera's picking them up, but they've just got a really pretty shine to them. So I'm gonna add 3 of them down here underneath where it says holidays, just 3 in a row, like so. And then I'm going to add sprinkle some gold ones. Okay, so there we have it. The beautiful mixed in layout. It was so easy to create. Copycat, just like the catalog. So if you are not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. You know, most of my viewers are not subscribers, so I really appreciate those of you that do subscribe. It does help my channel grow. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And I'd like to know, what are your traditions? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.